You ever wonder why the most religious people are usually poor? And also, you ever wonder why the most uneducated people usually have the most kids? You ever wonder why there's so much killing in the ghettos? It's all for the same reason. Humans being humans. Now, there are no dead humans out there creating broken homes or committing crimes in the street. These are human beings with God's light inside them. That's what my video is about today. For those of you who are not familiar with me, I go by the name Fabian Morgan, and I call this channel and my work the Soul's Advocate because I believe in leading the body with will. That's the will of the soul, meaning take control of the avatar, take control of the human being, because the human being is, you could pretty much call it a Neanderthal without the soul's influence, really, without the soul's control. It acts off impulses. It responds to its five senses as it should. It's a machine, and it doesn't behave. It's behaved upon. And if left uncontrolled or unattended to, it will behave as the animal that it is. Now, if you're offended by anything I've said thus far, thank you. I am a soul who know why I came here. I chose my family. I chose my region that I was going to be born. And I came here with a purpose. And a big part of my purpose is to ruffle feathers. I'm here to offend you, purposely offend you. So for that reason, I cannot care about your opinion. I've tried, most of my life I've been living small, pretending and lying, as the rest of you are, to myself, because I was tiptoeing through life, because I was taught to believe in a power outside of myself, whether that may be a teacher, a parent, older siblings, politician, pastors, whatever. Everything outside of self. And the real me have been sitting here the entire time. I'm ready. Whatever you like. But it's always been sitting there waiting. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with what I do, I practice out-of-body travel. And in doing so, I've learned a whole lot about myself, about this place that we live, that we call Earth. I've learned my purpose for coming here. I've gone back to counsel on the other side, if you will. I've gone back to see my birth. I've gone back to see my lifetimes that I spent on this in this construct, who I was in those lifetimes, how I died, who came back with me in this lifetime. All that information I know. And for this reason, people who are the most familiar with me are now convinced that I have fully lost my marbles because I am not the person who they thought they knew. Nobody really knew me up until this point, really. My entire life, no one really knew me. And this is something that I know. And that goes for the closest people to me. And I laugh because I see what they don't see. And I also see what they do see. So the familiarity part is throwing them off because it's like, you? What are you talking about? And the easiest way to swallow that is to throw me out or banish me from the village. But they banish me without prejudice, right? It's really they're not really against me as they think. They're subconsciously admiring me. So it's like an undercover fan, right? That's how it manifests, as if they're against me or they're concerned. We're concerned about your mental health, and what they're really saying is we are too scared to get off the porch and come out there, and your courage make us scared. Now, what you're looking at when you look at Christians, because I can speak from my background. Okay, I grew up Christian, and what I could say to the Christians, I was born in Jamaica, and if you know about the Caribbean, we are it's a very heavily Christian population. And I chose that region for a reason. I chose every single thing for a reason. My education level, all of those things. It's just so I could be relatable. So I'm not some guy who's here with a Harvard degree dangling in your face, telling you that I'm better than you. I'm here. I'm what they would call dyslexic. I haven't proven this, but this is just what I was told, right? Labels again, right? But anyway, and what that means is they would probably call learning disability, right? And what is a learning disability? To me, or what I know, these are things that souls like myself choose to take on in each in one's incarnation to create a certain ceiling or limitation as to what you do when you come here, right? If I had chosen a life as a scholar of some sort, I wouldn't have carried out my purpose. I would have been stuck in ego here, right? And please, and just live a life of pleasing the avatar. So I chose a ceiling for myself. So for that, I go as far as I go in school, but as far as my self-discovery and discovery learning, I'm very, very well versed in that, right? And I'm not here to brag or to make myself look any kind of way. I'm just telling you what it is. So the purpose of me saying that is this: like the most uneducated people, who are the most religious people, there's a correlation there. You have to think about that. The people who are the less educated, people who are broken and damaged emotionally, they search for pleasure, right? In order to feel. So I was born in that region to show you that I was once very religious, as you are. I got baptized at 12. And I was very, very heavy in the church. I was Seventh-day Adventist. And I used to go to all the crusades. I did all of the things, right, that we did as Christians. Obey and keep the Sabbath holy and all that stuff. I did all of that. And throughout all this time, I've always had questions. And I was never afraid to ask questions. I was one of those kids, right? So as much as I was Christian, I was never one of the docile, meek, and humble ones. Yes, master, no. I always ask questions. Like, I'm going because you guys are bigger than me and you have the physical strength to snap me like a twig. So I'm not going to talk back because I live in your house and I depend on you to feed me. So I won't talk back, but I'm going to push and see how far I can go. But if I'm asking questions about this, I'm going to ask it. And my smartness, I was always very clever. That's something that I've always had. I've always had charm, and I was always clever. And I would use my charm because I was a cute kid, and I was a quiet kid. So I got away with these questions, which they would have killed anybody else for, right? But I would ask these questions in a very innocent and curious way. But understanding that if I use my charm and the fact that I'm so likable, they will give me grace and answer me. And for the people who couldn't answer me, they always shut it down with, well, that part we don't question the Lord. We simply don't question the Lord. Now, when it comes to my mother or my grandmother, they would tell me straight up, don't question the Lord. Because they could clock you in your throat, right? So they will tell you that. But here's the thing. We have to learn the quickest way to give you this. And I'm talking to the Christians. Let's say I'm talking to the Christians in my region, okay? And for everybody else, right? This is all for the people who are, outsourcing their power, okay? So you could be Christian, Muslim, whatever. I'm just speaking for Christian because I'm talking specifically to my region, right? And of course it goes for everybody else. If you separate the human, not yourself, not you, mom, grandma, dad, whatever, not you as as what you think you are and what you think I am to you and my respect that I should show you. Separate all of that. Think of you, the human being, the animal, this. Okay? Esau. In the Bible, Jacob and Esau. Jacob and Esau was not two physical brothers that came out of Rebekah's stomach. Jacob and Esau was the same story as Jesus. Right? Or Moses. All of these stories were all, metaphor. It's allegoric. Anyway, I'm not going to go into that. But think of the human being separate from self. Because I can tell you as a person who leaves my body on an average of 4 times a week. Some weeks it's every single day because I could do it every morning. I prefer the morning time because, there's like a sweet spot in the morning that I could just always slip into it. But take it from me. And if you don't want to take it from me, see if you can fathom this. Think of the human being, of what it is. It's a meat suit, okay? Esau, if you look up the word Esau, it's literally, it says it's red and hairy, okay? It's red and hairy and rough. Those are the 3 meanings that comes up on the Esau. Jacob is supplanter, or, God's protect. May God protect, right? Jacob is the soul. The real you. The real you is Jacob. Jacob's vehicle is Esau. And he drives Esau through the physical. And he accumulates stuff from the physical to add on to self records as wisdom. And that's why God says, bring me Jacob. Right? And even in the Bible, did you remember that God hated Esau? You ever wonder why? He hated Esau. Esau is an impulsive animal. It's the human being. It's the flesh. Okay? This is why fasting is so important. This is why I teach about fasting, everything's down to controlling the avatar. Fasting, semen retention, cold showers, exercise, meditation, all these things. It's to take control of the beast. Cold showers, I only take cold showers. The way my body responds to hot water hitting me is the same way you respond to cold water because I've trained myself. I make sure that water is freezing cold before I go in there. If I go in there after somebody who just took a hot shower, it's like a shock to my body. I cannot have hot water on my body. I choose not to, right? But I've been doing it for so long that this is just my life, right? Semen retention. I don't discharge my semen. And you could take whatever you want from that. Yeah, I have some kids, but since I've come upon this truth, I don't do that anymore. Not saying I'll never do that again, but the point is self-control and discipline and being the soul in the body. And don't be a body with God's light trapped in it. Right? And This used to really frustrate me, but I now understand how to deliver this in a way that you could at least, hit like a spark plug where something could just, kick and just have you think of it, right? And that's to tell you, here I am now, willing to offend you. I don't care who you are or how much respect that I've shown you since I was a child coming up till now. I don't care who you are, in the family, in the church, anyone from my old life. I do not care who you are. You are wrong. There is no Jesus in the sky who's going to come down and save you. There is no God in the sky named Jehovah with a big white beard and he has a son named Jesus. There is no such thing. Okay? The being that you call Christ, he lives inside you. It is you. It is your essence. Okay? Jesus Christ or Christos or Krishna, all religions are saying the same thing. Right now I'm having chills up this arm right here. Okay? And for those of you who don't know, I'm clairsentient. This being you call Christ, I have met face to face, physically, like here,